Hello everyone, welcome back to Best Good Bricks. Today I guess we're going back in time in the history of YouTube a little bit and doing a tier list. I don't know how relevant these things are. I don't really keep up with the internet that much, but today I thought this would be fun to kind of look back on 2021 as we go into 2022 and look back on maybe how this year went. So, yep, if you end up enjoying this video, maybe consider leaving a like if you want other people to see this. So, yep, let's just start into us on here. So, of course, there's going to be from lowest to highest, D, C, B, A, and S. So, our first one is the probe droid model that we got. I thought this was pretty good. Honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and just put this in B. I think B is a great spot for this. It's not really one that I'm personally interested in, but it's still undeniably a good looking set. It's a good set. I feel like it was done a good job on it. So I'm just going to throw that in B. I don't really have, once again, it's just really because just lack of interest. So, next we have the Slave One. So, the Slave One, I own this set. I love Boba Fett. He's probably my favorite Star Wars character. So, I'm probably going to put this in A. So, of course, there's just a lot of bias with that. Objectively, I think the Probe Droid is the better set. But, I just like the Slave One set better. And I'm just super happy to have a Slave One. It's the only one that I have right now. Alright, so Imperial Shuttle. This is one of those kind of scaled down versions. And I feel like they did a decent job with this. There's some gaps that could be fixed. I feel like space is a little too small. There's definitely a lot of things that could have been improved with this. Overall, I think I'm going to have to put this set into a C. A lot of things could have gone better with this set. I feel like it's not bad, but I don't think it's as good as everything else that we have. I don't think it definitely should be in the same tier as the Probe Droid. No, actually, I'm going to change mine on the Probe Droid. I feel like that the shuttle's not exactly maybe C tier. I feel like it's still good. I might move that up to B. We'll see. I'm going to go through this once again real quick once I finish going through all of them and just, fix things up if it's needed. So, alright, next we have the Tauntaun and Atat microfighters. I own this set, and I think it's a great little set of microfighters. I don't really mind proportions on microfighters. I think there's some good minifigures in this. Overall, I think this is just a good A. It's just a good A for me. I think it's a good versus microfighters and some good minifigures in it. Alright, so the 4+ Poe Dameron's TIE Fighter. Now, we got that at Luke's TIE Fighter not so long ago, which was not bad for a 4+ set. Just being the X-Wing on its own, of course, being it's 4+, it's not really made for someone like me. So, this is going to be a little bit biased, but I think I'm going to have to put that in C. Yeah, it's for a lot younger children, so I can get why mine might deserve to be a little bit higher, but I feel like they could just add a little bit more to the set, and it just seems a little bit almost too basic. They could have done a little bit more with it. Alright, so the TIE Fighter, the small scaled down TIE Fighter. Now, there's definitely a couple of inaccuracies with this. Of course, scale-wise, it's supposed to be smaller. Overall, I think it's a decent addition to the TIE Fighters we've had in LEGO so far. There's a decent minifigure selection. Or I think this is a very solid B tier LEGO set. I have it and I enjoy it, and I think it's pretty good. Alright, the Advent Calendar. Alright, so Advent Calendar. So this is a tricky one, I feel like. Advent Calendars are hard to rank among other sets. So instead of comparing this to the rest of the models that we've gotten, I'm going to try to just compare this to previous Advent Calendars. So objectively, this isn't the best Advent Calendar we've gotten. It just being in the Mandalorian, you could say that that's a good thing and a bad thing. We could limit what they're doing, but maybe that consistency is something that someone may like. The addition of weapon racks isn't really a plus. I mean, this is probably a C. There's some good things. We have some pretty decent Christmas minifigs in it. Overall, I feel like that's a C. We don't have anything in S yet. We'll see if anything ends up getting in there. Now, I should, of course, clarify, I don't have all of these yet. So this is just purely going what I think of them visually. I should have clarified that earlier. My apologies for not doing that. Alright, so the Scout Trooper helmet. I actually really like the Scout Trooper helmet. I don't own it right now. I don't really, have too much of a desire to, but honestly, I think they did a really good job. I'm gonna put the Scout Trooper helmet in A. I think it's just generally a good looking set. I think overall LEGO did a very good job with that helmet. Alright, Duel on Mandalore. This is a smaller set. There's not as much to do with some of these other ones. There's not as much stuff in it. So I'm just gonna give this a B. I think it's a good set. I think it was a little bit overpriced. It's for what it is. I think it's good. They put some good play functions in there for what it is. Overall, I think it's a good small set, but it can't compete with some of these others. So I think it's good for a B. Ooh, the Bad Batch shuttle. So there's a lot of controversy about how this about the color scheme of this, but of course as the show went on, I think that it's seen to be much more appropriate. The speeders might be a little bit big, but I think that's fine. So Minifigure Selection, of course, is the big draw here. I bought this one. I actually really enjoy this set, despite some of its flaws. I really like it. I don't know if it's S tier yet, so I'm just going to put in A tier, and we'll see if I end up changing my mind. Some of the A tier is getting a little bit clumped up here. Alright, so we're getting the oh, sorry, I don't have the name exactly memorized. So we have an Imperial transport here from the Mandalorian. I actually hope to be getting this set very soon. I like the Stormtroopers in here. Griff Karga that's a great addition to get him in a cheaper set this time. Overall, honestly, I've always liked this one. I think that this was overall a very good addition. Once again, that's going to be going in A for the time being. Well, I just think it's a very solid set and a nice addition. Alright, so our R2-D2 model. I forgot about this thing. I don't really have too much to say about this. I mean, it's cool. There's some nice functionality to it, but I'm not really into those kind of things. I'm just going to plug that in A. A is definitely getting a little bit crowded up here, but I'm going to be honest. I'm just going to put this down into B because I generally forgot about it. Yeah, it's a good set, but I don't really have much care for it as much as some of these others. Alright, so we have the Millennium Falcon Microfighter. So overall, I think this is a very good microfighter, but I'm still gonna put it in B because this is like, what, the third one we've gotten? I mean, I think it's still a great microfighter, but it's just, we've gotten enough of those. Moth Gideon's Light Cruiser. Alright, so Moth Gideon's Light Cruiser has definitely some flaws. Not only was it a little bit overpriced, but the minifigure selection was disappointing. Now, I would like to clarify it as like the selection of minifigures is disappointing, but the minifigures individually are good. But when they're put in context with the build that they come with, they're not that great because we only get 2 Imperials. One of them is just a droid, not an officer or anything. LEGO put too many heroes in this set. So I feel like that because of that, I'm kind of going between a B and a C overall. I think the model's fine. Of course, for a model that big, of course, it's going to have a little bit more flaws than a smaller one. For now, I'm just going to throw that into B. I think it's just a decent set. It's definitely not nearly as good as some of the other Star Destroyer kind of like sets that we've gotten, but overall, I think it's pretty good. Mandalorian Starfighter. So this is a set once again I really hope to get soon in the future. I think it comes with great minifigures, so I'm pretty happy with this build. The one really flaw that I can find that's possibly avoidable is the minifigure's arms, I believe, stick out a little bit in the cockpit. You can say that like the anti-studs, but that doesn't really bother me too much. Overall, this seems like a very well done set, and for the time being, that's going to be going in A. Once again, nothing in S yet. I think once this is all done, I'm going to get into just a little bit more like purely opinion based and start moving stuff around that way. Hopefully that makes sense, but I don't think it does. Alright, so X-Wing. Now, I think this is a B with the rest of the smaller ones. There's not really much to say here. It being smaller definitely lacks some of the play function that the bigger one had, but it is still more affordable, so, just really just depends on, which one of those you prefer. So I'm just going to put that in a B. I think it's a decent one. Darth Vader helmet. Now, Darth Vader helmet, I think it looked a little bit odd to a lot of people when it first came out. Still looks a little bit off, but me personally, I think that I'm going to put this in B. Kind of like a lot like the R2-D2 helmet. I kind of forgot about it. It's not really something I really thought of, so. I think it's still good. It still looks good, but not really something that just interests me. Alright, so Darth Vader's meditation chamber. So, I'm gonna go out on a limb and actually maybe put this in C. Just purely because this isn't an interesting thing. I have literally zero interest in ever owning this. Like, most of these sets, at least, like, have a little bit of interest. Like, that'd be kind of cool to have, but not this, really. There's no interest in me to have this or own this set, A little bit of an obscure scene on top of that. They didn't do it too well. I know there were a lot of cracks in the actual meditation chamber and openings and gaps. So, overall, I feel like LEGO could have done a lot better. And honestly, probably doesn't even need to exist. Alright, the UCS Republic Gunship. A lot of controversy, I wouldn't say controversy, but aside from the minifigure, there was a lot of excitement surrounding this set. Overall, I think LEGO has done a tremendous job visually on this. Of course, they're expensive. The minifigures are fine. I'm very glad that Clone Trooper is not going to be exclusive anymore. And I just love that LEGO's not having that exclusive anymore. Because people were complaining about that minifigure so much. For them to turn around and put it in a $15 set, it's just like saying like a big F you to the LEGO fans that complained. And I absolutely love that. I don't know if that's actually their thought process, but it's just nice. It's just something cool to think about. So overall, I think this for now is going to be an A. Alright, Trouble on Tatooine. This is overall, I think, a pretty good set. It is definitely mostly a minifigure pack. Because that's what is... And as that Mando has become more common, I feel like its value in wanting to get it has gone down. I'm actually going to put this in B. Because it's definitely gotten less special now that Mando has become a lot more... That Beskar Mando has come out in a lot more sets, and he'd come out in a microfighter. But the Grogu still adds some value, and some of the builds are fine. Mostly for me, the value is in Mando, Grogu, and the speeder bike. No, it's a fine set. All right, last one is the Ultimate Collector Series AT-AT Walker. Now I'm not usually have much interest in UCS sets. Honestly, I would never really want this set. Not only do I not have room for it, I just rather spend my money on so much other things. I don't have any interest in this set. But this is... I always had a lot more of an interest in this one than I usually have. Probably because it's just... Like, of course, the legs are a lot thicker than they should be, and there's a lot of there's little stuff like that. But, considering the structure, stability that it seems to have... Aside from, posing it in certain ways. I know Jang highlighted some that in his review. I would put this in S, especially with, 40 seats inside. Good minifigure selection for a UCS set. Honestly, the whole reason that's keeping this from S is just, it's $800. So, we have nothing in S right now. I don't really think any of these are D worthy. So what I'm going to do is maybe get a little bit more of a biased approach and put some of these in S. Of course, I'm going to put the Slave one in S tier now because, me owning that set, of course, I think it has a lot more value to me than some of these others. And I just am generally very happy to have this set. Being a Boba Fett fan, I wasn't as big of a LEGO Star Wars collector or Star Wars fan when we got the 20th anniversary Slave one. So as to come out, I was so happy, and I bought this along with the Bad Batch shuttle when they came out, and I'm super pleased to have it. I love the minifigures. Bro, that is probably an S tier for me, and I'm probably also going to slide the Bad Batch shuttle in there. Once again, it's expensive, but I do generally enjoy owning this set. I think the model's good, and I think it has a lot of display value in that sense. And the minifigures are great. I add some unique clones to my collection of clone troopers, which I'm very happy about. So those are probably going to be 2 in S. Yeah, looking at all these, I think this was a pretty decent year for LEGO Star Wars sets. We gotten some experiments, you know, with some of the smaller sets. A little bit, definitely a much more emphasis on some collector's items here. Overall, I think LEGO has done a pretty good job, and I'm very excited to see what they do next year and all the more sets we're gonna get. So, yeah, everyone, that's gonna do it for my ranking. If you enjoyed the video, maybe consider leaving it a like, and of course, subscribe, and I do hope to see you in my next video.